As we were getting our new apartment ready, my girlfriend's guy best friend kicked the door in. You're getting married before you've even passed the pre-wedding tests. Getting married without my approval. Haven't seen you in a few years, and you've gotten awfully brave, haven't you? My girlfriend, caught in a headlock by him, had a look of pleasant surprise. He then walked in the master bedroom and sat down on the wedding bed, bouncing on it. Knowing your taste and how picky you are, this bed's not going to cut it. It won't satisfy you for more than a few days. My girlfriend's friends gasped and immediately tried to smooth things over, but he just jutted his chin out at me defiantly. You're not going to cry, are you, buddy? This is the first pre-wedding test. If you're not generous enough, I won't approve of this marriage. My girlfriend turned to me, apologizing nervously. She tried to brush it all off as a joke. My fists, which hadn't hit anyone in years, clenched tight. So did my feet. Your marriage? I approve. Ace raised an eyebrow, watching Sophia's reaction. Everyone else just stared at each other. The room was so quiet you could hear a pin drop. Sophia's smile was stiff. Haha, what is this nonsense, Steven? That joke's not very funny. Ace is just impulsive and never serious. Don't pay him any mind and don't pick up his bad habits. We'd been together for 3 years. This was the first time I'd ever seen Sophia so bubbly and talkative. The Sophia I was seeing now felt more real. My gut told me I should probably reconsider marrying her. Don't mind him, Steven. Ace has always been like this with us. Yeah, we basically see him as one of the girls. He has no filter. Sophia's 2 friends chimed in, trying to run interference. I swallowed the bitter feeling in my gut and gave them a gracious smile and a nod. But Ace suddenly sprang up from the bed. He threw an arm around Sophia's neck. Then he pulled her head straight into his muscular chest. What's so bad about me? When am I ever not serious? You explain yourself right now. Sophia's face turned bright red. I couldn't tell if it was from excitement or from being smothered. She told me about her history with Ace before. Her father died young, and she was left to fend for herself like a weed nobody cared for. When she was bullied, Ace was the one who stood up for her and had her back. After hearing that, I thought she should be grateful. I just never imagined this is what he meant by having her back. You're so rough. Sophia pried his arm off her neck, stealing a glance at my face. Stay away from me. I'm a taken woman now. Ace let her go and slung his arm around my shoulders instead. Who cares about you girls and your fancy perfumes? Brothers are better. Weren't you throwing me a welcome home dinner? Where's it at? I'm not going if it's not someplace nice. Sophia slapped his hand away. Her expression finally turned serious as she looped her arm through mine. The welcome dinner was booked by my Steven. It's at a top-tier private club. That's how much he respects me. So for you to show up and give him a hard time is really uncalled for. Ace shrugged. Then he suddenly bowed to me and said he was sorry. But as he straightened up, he rolled his eyes at her, acting like a puppy guarding its food. So pathetic. There are 3 pre-wedding tests. We'll count this as him passing the first one. We'll see how you both do on the rest. Sophia tapped her fingers twice on my arm. It was our little signal for her to calm me down. I took a half step away, avoiding her touch. I've been single my whole life before I met her, hoping my first love would be my last. I really didn't know how to handle a love triangle. I was torn between blowing up right then and there or just enduring it. What's this? Ace picked up a velvet box from the nightstand. I looked over. He had already opened it. He took out the vintage watch inside and started fiddling with it. Looks old and classic. You got a unique eye. I'm commandeering this for a couple of days. With that, he shot me a provocative glance and slowly started putting it on his wrist. But Sophia's voice was urgent. Put that back right now. When she saw the watch on Ace's wrist, she almost lunged to snatch it back. That's my father's only heirloom. It's for Steven to wear on our wedding day. I'll say it again. Take it off and put it back. Or don't blame me for what happens next. Sophia's voice rose, but her face was dark. Ace stared at her. I can't even wear it for 2 days? I know that your dad's grave with you. I called him Dad. Have you forgotten? His eyes started to get red. Sophia pressed her lips together and said nothing. Her 2 friends next to her started trying to persuade her. Ace saved you before. He's just curious. You really don't have to be so harsh. When have you ever seen Ace cry? If Steven doesn't mind, Just let him wear it for a couple of days. It's a nice watch. It won't break. Stephen, what do you say? Sophia looked at me, torn. We had originally planned for me to wear it on our wedding day, so it would be like her father was there with us. Then it was supposed to be put away immediately for safekeeping. If she was willing to let Ace take it and play with it, what right did I have to say no? Her promise to give all her love to me now felt like a joke. My throat felt like it was stuffed with cotton, and a dull ache spread through my chest. Take it. Play with it all you want. Ace must have been trying really hard to fake it. The redness in his eyes was already gone. Sophia stared into my eyes, seeking confirmation again. You really don't mind? I nodded seriously. Nope, I don't mind. I didn't even want her anymore, let alone the watch. She studied my face suspiciously, searching for any trace of hurt or anger. Ace took off the watch and put it back in its place. He walked over and patted Sophia's shoulder. All right, I was just kidding. Sophia, my dear, you're still not a very good daughter, are you? He turned and playfully flicked my chin with his finger. But your fiancé here is pretty decent. Consider the second pre-wedding test. Let's go to the club. Eat, drink, be merry. I'm starving. The smile returned to Sophia's face. She told her friends to get their things so we could head out. I didn't want to go, but then I thought I should probably make the breakup official. The drive would be a good opportunity. As I was thinking, Ace had already hopped on his motorcycle. The engine roared to life as he circled around me. His yell was piercing, making my head throb. Has Sophia taught you how to ride a bike? If you can beat me in a race, any way you can, I'll count it as you passing the third pre-wedding test. How about it? He was deliberately showing off. The motorcycle circles got smaller and smaller, nearly hitting me several times. I clenched my fists. The martial arts skills I hadn't used in years were itching for a fight, but I was still debating whether it was worth it to just kick him off the bike and blow things up. Just then, Sophia drove her car out of the underground garage. She grabbed a bottle of water and threw it at him. He flashed a middle finger and sped off in a cloud of dust. Sophia got out, pushed me into the passenger seat, and sighed as she explained, "Don't take it to heart. He's always like this. He was probably cooped up abroad and is just letting loose and going wild now that he's back. Anyway, he's only here for a few days. He won't be causing trouble for long." I stared out the window at the scenery rushing by. Oh, I'm not taking it to heart. Let's break up, Sophia, and we can cancel the wedding. Sophia glanced over at me. I was too embarrassed to tell you before, but my mom's new boyfriend once hired people to kidnap me. Ace was the one who fought off the guys trying to take me. So please don't be mad, okay? I'll keep him in line, I promise. As for that ridiculous pre-wedding test, I'll make him stop at the second we get to the club. I thought for a moment, then asked her seriously, so you're saying that because he saved you, I have to put him on a pedestal? Oh wait, I have to spoil him like he's your own father, right? The car screeched to a halt. Sophia grabbed my hand, her voice softening. Just humor me, please. Can we talk about this after dinner is over? Ace rapped on the window with his helmet. What's the holdup? Let's go. I opened the door to get out and leave, but Ace grabbed my shoulder and started pulling me toward the club. I shook his hand off, but before I could say anything, Sophia had already tossed her keys to the valet and was running after us. Ace, cool it. Stephen is the man I'm going to marry. No more pre-wedding tests or any other games. Since she'd said that, I was willing to give her that much. But even if we talked later, the outcome wouldn't change. Ace shrugged and grumbled about how boring everything was. During dinner, he actually behaved himself. He even poured 2 glasses of wine, stood up, and handed one to me. I want to apologize. I can go too far when I'm fooling around. Don't take it out on Sophia because of me. I felt a tug on my shirt. It was Sophia. The others chimed in urging me to let it go. I took the glass and downed it. But less than 2 minutes later, my head started spinning. Realizing something was wrong, I immediately stood up, said I wasn't feeling well, and that I had to leave. Sophia reached out to steady me. What's wrong? But then Ace clutched his stomach and started moaning. The hand supporting me suddenly let go. Sophia rushed to his side, letting me fall back into my chair. Ace patted my cheek. This is the third pre-wedding test. Good luck. The 2 friends were stunned. Ace, what are you doing? Aren't you afraid Sophia will actually lose it with you? Are you crazy? It's not too late to stop. But Ace was unfazed. The special ingredient in the wine is something I brought back from overseas. I guarantee Steven won't remember a thing when he wakes up. I'm doing this for Sophia's own good. Just a little test to make sure he won't cheat on her after they're married. She'll thank me for it. She'd never get mad at me. Relax, I hired the girls. They're not going to actually touch Steven. Besides, aren't you guys curious to see what happens? We're all adults here. Stop pretending you're so innocent. The two of them looked away sheepishly. They just muttered something about not being involved and not knowing anything. I was dizzy and a wave of heat washed over my body, but my mind was still working. As they helped me to a private room next door, a plan instantly formed in my head. Two scantily clad women were smiling at me. Ace pinched my side. I came back 2 days early just to set this up for you. Enjoy it. Before the words were out of his mouth, I launched a whip kick and sent him flying. A knife hand strike followed, knocking both women unconscious. This is the best you could set up in 2 days? I forgot to tell you, before college, I was a national champion in the men's division of the National Youth Martial Arts Tournament. All your flashy moves, they're nothing but a cheap sideshow to me. The drug was hitting hard. I knew I couldn't stay long, but I had to look intimidating. The two women were slumped on the floor. I planted my foot on a writhing Ace, pulled the special ingredient out of his pocket, and shoved it in his mouth. Ignoring his muffled curses, I pointed around the room. Since you set this all up, you get to enjoy it. Just then, the door to the room swung open, revealing a tall figure. An unfamiliar, stunningly beautiful woman stood before me, more dazzling than the sun. My brain was in a complete fog. I walked over and grabbed her wrist. Are you single? Yes. No husband, no boyfriend, and definitely no guy best friend. All I heard was yes. I kissed her lips, which had been chattering away. In a daze, we were in an elevator. She took control, pressing her hand to the back of my head. I felt for her slim waist, the elegant curve of it so soft. Everything about her was perfect, just perfect. I didn't even notice we were in a private elevator and that it had stopped at the top floor. Rumor had it this was the exclusive floor of the mysterious CEO Ms. Lin, a secret sanctuary she had personally designed for the man she loved. All I knew was that her arm was now looped through mine. She wanted me to use my arm to measure her waist. Fireworks exploded in my brain. I had no idea where I was. I became like a vine seeking support, clinging desperately to the slender woman. Suddenly, a sharp pain shot through my lower lip. I managed to force my eyelids open a crack. The woman's elegant nose was pressed against mine. Are you sure you want to continue? Her voice was cool and husky, and mixed with her hot breath, it had a mesmerizing power. I forced my eyes open wider. Her magnified face was as perfect as a work of art, her eyes filled with deep emotion. Are you sure you won't regret this? She asked me again. It would be rude to keep going. I bit my tongue hard, and a sliver of clarity returned to my mind. Right. You have to be careful with your first time. Your life is also important. No matter how beautiful a professional seductress is, you have to watch out for diseases. Take me to the hospital. You're very professional. I'll pay you what I owe you. I managed to force the words out, but my body refused to leave hers, and I lost my senses again. On the way, I was so frantic I didn't care where we were. I just held her and kissed her wildly. When I came to in a private hospital room, I was still leaning on her shoulder. Thanks, I said. I felt like I'd been roasted over a fire. I kept my head down, too embarrassed to look at her. I just gotten steady on my feet when my legs gave out again, and I stumbled back into her. Of all the rotten luck, I bumped right into a certain spot, eliciting a soft, sultry moan. Sorry, I'll take you home. We spoke at the same time. She stood up to steady me, then half knelt to pick up my shoes one by one. I leaned heavily against her, studying the red marks on my chest. Steven, as we were walking out of the hospital entrance, I suddenly heard Sophia's voice behind me. I patted my human crutch, letting her know she could let go of me. I turned to face Sophia. She was supporting Ace, her face grim. Who is this woman? When did you get together with her? I let out a cold laugh. You're holding on to a man yourself. Why do you have to ask me anything? Besides, on the way to the club today, I told you we were breaking up. Who I'm with is none of your business. Her eyes widened with anger. Ace spoke up weakly. Steven, you're the one with a woman on the side. Sophia and I are completely innocent, okay? If you didn't want to go through with the pre-wedding tests, you could have just said so. Why did you have to frame me? If Sophia hadn't gotten there in time, His whiny voice was grating. I cut him off, annoyed. You're a great guy, best friend, but you suck at playing the victim. Pre-wedding tests is a nice way to put it. It was just your way of trying to get rid of me and take my place, wasn't it? What couldn't make it overseas? So you came back looking for a meal ticket. As for who framed whom, the evidence isn't hard to find. But Sophia, I was just staring at the exposed skin on my chest. Only now did she frown and speak. Steven, how do you have the nerve to say any of this? With me, you pretended to be some virtuous gentleman, but behind my back, you're playing around more than anyone, aren't you? I originally thought Ace was just messing around, but now I see I should be grateful he tested you. You make me sick. As for what you did to Ace, I'll find out the truth, and I'll make you pay. I had no idea how Ace managed to brainwash her. She used to seem so normal, but now it was like her brain had packed up and left town. I really didn't want to admit I'd ever loved someone like this, but I had to set her straight lest things get out of hand. My tit-for-tat method wasn't exactly clean either. I pointed to the hospital behind me to give her a hint. Why do you think I'm here? I'm telling you one last time, I'm the victim. Ace was just too stupid to pull off his little scheme and ended up with a taste of his own medicine. But she was completely deluded. She scoffed. You're the one who booked the club. Do you really believe that yourself? I couldn't take it anymore. With all my strength, I kicked the hospital's metal trash can, sending it flying. The massive crash startled both her and Ace. A wave of fear came off Sophia. Her face went pale, and she instinctively took a step back. Ace almost fell, but she didn't even notice. She just stared wide-eyed, trying to grasp some fuzzy memory. You know martial arts? Unfortunately, I didn't hear a word she said. My body was still weak, and I hadn't put my all into that kick. It almost made me fall over too. It was my human crutch who caught me in her arms in time, saving me from disaster. I was fuming to myself, but the chest I was leaning against started to vibrate. Her laugh was beautiful, and to make it worse, she added, I've been waiting a long time for you to do that. That just made me angrier. But she held me and looked down at Sophia. I'll send you the club's security footage. You probably wouldn't be able to get it on your own. I was dazedly bundled into her car. The fuzzy memories in my head came flooding back. In a normal car just like this, I was all over her, kissing her like a maniac. How did she even drive to the hospital? Did we get caught on a traffic cam? It was so embarrassing. I wanted the floor to swallow me whole. It wasn't until we pulled up to my house and she handed me my missing phone that I worked up the courage to ask. You must be at the top of your profession, right? Including the medical bills, how much do I owe you? Her fingers tapped on the steering wheel as she thought for a moment. A small smile played on her lips. I'm not sure how much to charge you. We'll talk about it tomorrow. That night, I slept like a rock. When I woke up in the morning, a call from Sophia popped up on my phone. It took me a second to remember we had already broken up. So a years-long relationship really can rot away in an instant. I shot out of bed. Mom, Dad, I broke up with Sophia. The wedding. Invitations that went out. You need to call our friends and family and explain. Downstairs, my parents both looked up. Steeling myself, I recounted what had happened. I didn't dare mention the part where I almost devoured a strange woman. Suddenly, the doorbell rang. My parents grabbed a vase and an ashtray, respectively, and charged toward the door. That heartless, ungrateful monster. She dares to show her face here. Son, today your mother's going to teach her a lesson she'll never forget. In the yard stood a few gift boxes. Sophia stood before my parents, her face full of guilt, not moving an inch. Uncle, Annie, as long as it makes you feel better, you can do whatever you want of me. I'll accept it. My parents didn't have the heart to get physical, so they just told the housekeeper to throw her out. She craned her neck to look at me, standing in the doorway. Steven, can we talk, please? My parents and the housekeeper stood in a line, glaring at her like tigers. I was a little exasperated. The apartment is in your name. My family paid for the wedding prep and the car, which are in our names. There are no assets to divide. If you have anything else to say, just say it all right now from where you're standing. She took a step forward, but was blocked again. She was quiet for a moment before speaking. I saw the security footage from last night. My other two friends also confessed. It was Ace's fault, but he really didn't mean to do anything to you. He was just playing a bit too rough. Think about it. I could have gotten a medicine and been back at the club quickly. If he really wanted to do something to you, he wouldn't have chosen that moment. And you hit him, so you got your revenge on the spot. Can we just call it even? He promised me he would never do anything to make you uncomfortable again. And as for you and that model last night, I can let it go. I'll never wrong you again. On and on she went, a string of nonsense. I walked up to her, and with a leg sweep, I kicked the ground at her feet, stirring up a cloud of dust. Break up. Do you not understand those two words? Whatever you and Ace do from now on is your business. I couldn't care less. Now get lost and go take care of your brother. Sophia stumbled back a few steps, scared. She asked blankly, "How did you become so rough?" "No, you knew martial arts before, didn't you? Why didn't you ever tell me? I've never even seen you kick anyone." Suddenly, several luxury cars pulled up outside the gate. They caught everyone's attention. The beautiful stranger from last night walked in, clapping her hands twice. Mr. Kent is still so full of energy. Wonderful. The assistant beside her introduced her formally. This is Ms. Linda Lynn, the head of the Lynn family. The string of titles was long, and I didn't remember any of them. There was only one thought in my head. The legendary Ms. Lynn was on the Forbes list. Was her service fee calculated by the minute or by the second? The next moment, her cool voice sounded again. "Mr. and Mrs. Kent, apologies for the intrusion. Please, accept these small gifts. I came today mainly to settle the service fee with Mr. Kent." Several bodyguards behind her began unloading things. Sophia's few gift boxes were disdainfully tossed outside the yard. She scrambled to her feet and yelled, "Just how much nerve do you have? Daring to impersonate Ms. Lynn? You hire a few shady people, rent some cars, and come here demanding a fortune for a service fee. Stephen, there are a lot of scammers like this. Don't fall for it just because she looks halfway decent." But no one paid her any attention. My mom quietly put down her weapon. She shot me a glare, her smile a little strained as she spouted polite pleasantries. My dad sucked his beer belly and grinned sheepishly. "Ms. Lynn, may I ask what exactly was this service for?" They were prominent people in our city, and seeing them act so cautiously now made my heart ache a little. Thankfully, Linda Lynn was very polite to them. After the small talk, Linda held out her hand to her assistant. She took a file folder and handed it to me. At the same time, the assistant walked towards Sophia. After reading the file, I was speechless. Ace's family had dirty business overseas. All four of them were criminals. His parents and older sister had all been arrested recently. His involvement was minimal, not enough for an international arrest warrant. So he had fled back to the country, planning to latch onto Sophia to continue his lavish lifestyle. He was probably used to being arrogant, which is why he resorted to such dirty tricks against me. "How was that possible?" Sophia muttered. Linda Lynn smiled faintly. She lifted her wrist and glanced at her watch, looking somewhat captivating. 10 minutes ago, Ace was put on a helicopter and deported. Last night, he personally confessed that he wasn't the one who saved you back then. He only took the credit for your gratitude and financial support. Support? Sophia clutched the papers in her hand, trembling like a leaf in the wind. I craned my neck to look. Holy cow! The transfer records were endless. At least tens of millions. I almost wanted to thank Ace for coming back. If I'd only found this out after marrying Sophia, it would have been a real disaster. Sophia suddenly grabbed my wrist. "When you were 13, were you ever in South City? In an alley off Phoenix Road, did you save a girl who was about to be kidnapped?" She almost passed out. I pried her fingers off and threw her hand to the side. I thought about it carefully, but couldn't remember. I don't remember. I used to travel everywhere for competitions and liked to meddle in other people's business. I've helped out a lot of people. Don't go randomly claiming someone as your savior. I'm not interested in being your father figure. Linda spoke up coolly from the side. Don't doubt it. Stephen was the one who saved you. I was so shocked I almost jumped. I quickly waved my hands. Then don't try to repay me. Or better yet, Just stay far away from me from now on. That'll be thanks enough? Okay. Sophia swayed on her feet. She looked like she was about to shatter. Linda scoffed and turned to me. It's all taken care of, Mr. Kent. Let's talk about the service fee. Before I could respond, my parents were eagerly inviting her inside, closing the door behind them. They shut themselves and Sophia outside, telling me to make sure I had a good talk with her. Inside, Linda cornered me. I backed away guiltily until I plopped down on the sofa. She suddenly leaned in, putting her perfect face right in front of mine. Stephen, you don't remember me either, do you? Her deep eyes were like bottomless pools. Her voice was low, and it sounded a little sad. People used to say Sophia was beautiful, but compared to her, Sophia's beauty was utterly ordinary. My cheeks grew hot, and my breathing became a little ragged. Are you here to repay me for saving your life too? In that case, can that cover the service fee? She gave a self-deprecating smile and pulled back from me. There's no life debt to repay, so let's just calculate the service fee, right? Even if I was bad with faces, if I'd saved someone this beautiful, I definitely would have remembered. My frozen brain started to function again. I tried to bargain with her. Ms. Lynn, I was wrong, but you didn't exactly say no last night, so it was basically mutual, right? And as for today's service, I didn't ask for it. You can't just force me to buy something. So could you maybe give me a discount? My mouth was faster than my brain, and I wanted to slap myself. Was she going to think I was calling her desperate, get angry, and demand a fortune? I cautiously peeked at her. Her expression was unreadable. Let's go. We'll discuss this somewhere else. Maybe you'll remember something. I stood up glumly and opened the door to two pairs of probing, somewhat suggestive eyes. Mom, Dad, don't worry. I'm just going out with her for a bit. Sophia actually hadn't left. She was standing outside the gate, craning her neck and shouting anxiously. Is she threatening you? What kind of outrageous conditions is she setting? She's not asking you to marry her, is she? Stephen, you can't go with her. Whatever she spent on last night and today, have her name a price. I'll pay it. My parents were stunned. They quietly asked me if I'd just never noticed she was an idiot or if today's events had finally scrambled her brain. Honestly, I didn't know either. Linda, however, just turned to her assistant and asked, is she very rich? The diligent assistant immediately started swiping on his phone, ready to give a financial report. But Linda raised her hand to stop him. She politely said goodbye to my parents. My parents were probably afraid I'd never get married. One told her to come by often, while the other told me not to rush home. Looking at them, I got the feeling that even if Linda really was asking me to marry her, they would be more than happy to agree. Only Sophia, being pulled away by bodyguards, was still frantically protesting. Linda seemed to be in good mood. Once we were in the car, she said to me out of the blue, this is the car we took to the hospital. Last night, the lower privacy screen and the reclined seat. Everything reminded me of what happened last night. I was on pins and needles all the way to the club. She led me to the private elevator and pressed the button for the top floor. You're the only man who's ever been here. I fiddled with the hem of my shirt. Certain pieces of information were finally clicking into place in my head. You think I defiled this place and want me to pay for the renovations? Are you feeling guilty? Afraid your beloved will get angry and won't be able to accept you when he finds out? But I remember very clearly that I confirmed you were single last night. The more I spoke, the angrier I got. You're all the same. You and Sophia are no different. A bunch of phonies. Having someone in your heart, but still claiming to be single. Thinking about how close we came to doing it last night, I suddenly felt dirty and a little hurt. My nose started to tingle. Linda's fist clenched and unclenched. She rolled her wrists a few times. I suspected she wanted to hit me, but wasn't sure if she could win. Then she spoke again. The elevator's here. Why don't you go in and take a look first? I glared at her and turned to walk out of the elevator. My eyes landed on a professional boxing ring. It looked a little familiar. Hanging on the ropes were photos of all sizes. I was about to walk over for a closer look. Wait, Linda suddenly closed the elevator door. Can you first answer me, why did you quit martial arts? Maybe it was because I hadn't seen a ring in person for so many years. Her question brought all the memories flooding back. As you know, I used to be pretty good, and I liked to step in when I saw injustice. One time I almost got myself killed. My parents got scared, and I didn't want them to worry so much. Also, in high school, I had a crush on this girl. She was really pretty, but when I confessed to her, she said I was too delicate, not like a real boy. So I decided to learn how to be a tough guy. She seemed very interested. She pressed on. And the chronological order of those two reasons is, I glanced at her. I confessed first, then got hurt. It all happened in the summer between junior and senior year. Are we done here? What do you want from me? But a bright smile suddenly bloomed on her face. It was radiant, not the kind you'd expect to see on a CEO. Last question. Last night, if it hadn't been me who showed up, if it had really been a model or someone else, would you have done the same thing? Please answer honestly. This is very important to me. I roll my eyes at her. Of course not. I have strong self-control, and I'm picky, okay? It's all your fault for being so dazzling that I lost my cool. But if someone else looked like you, that's another story. The situation was pretty extreme. She pressed her lips together and didn't respond. After a long moment, she opened the elevator doors. Let's go in and talk. My gaze was once again drawn to the ring. I slowly walked over and touched the ropes. The next second, I saw my own picture. Most of them were me. From elementary school competitions and award ceremonies to school events to photos of my life after I left the sport, I did a full circle and saw a familiar figure. The pretty girl I confessed to, who told me I was too delicate. I met her in Pennsylvania and never forgot her. Later, I ran into her in California. We had a secret match behind our coaches' backs. I didn't win, but we talked for a long time that day, and in the end, it was my young heart that lost. You're not Beanpole, are you? In my excitement, the nickname I'd given her slipped out. She had come to stand behind me at some point, looking at the photos with me. I turned my head and almost bumped right into her. I held my breath. Am I a Beanpole? Didn't you already measure me last night? I immediately spun back around. I was so nervous I was starting to ramble. That's not what I meant. You used to be kind of skinny, and I got used to calling you that when I was teasing you. And your last name wasn't Lynn back then, was it? Her reply came from right beside my ear. Her faint smile sounded a little bleak. My current name, my maternal grandfather gave it to me when I went back to my dad's side of the family. Later, Linda's voice was low. It was like watching a movie with my ears. Back then, she had chased after me trying to explain, but her coach caught her. The coach told her that her parents had been in a car accident and driven off a cliff, and that she had to go home immediately. She went back to handle the funeral, but her aunt had already taken control of the family business. She was pushed out and suppressed until her grandfather couldn't bear it and brought her to live with the Lynn family. That's how she got her new name and later took over her mother's family business with an iron fist. The regret that had haunted me for years, the thing that made me afraid to date, that made me suppress my true nature, in that instant it all vanished. Linda, did you find me a long time ago? And why did you only tell me today? She suddenly smiled again. Not that long ago. I was too busy before. I only found you a couple of years ago and have been keeping an eye on you since. But I always felt that you were very different from the boy I loved and remembered. And you had Sophia. Yesterday, if you hadn't fought back, my bodyguards would have been the ones to save you. I never would have appeared before you, and I wouldn't have gotten involved in the mess between the three of you. She seemed to have her principles. I responded numbly. You've changed a lot, too. Your body is better than a model's now, and you're so cool. But I still don't get it. What does me fighting back have to do with whether you showed up or not? As soon as I asked, I figured it out. My heart was beating fast. I didn't know what I was hoping for. She grabbed my shoulders. She forced me to turn and look her in the eye, her gaze intense. It has everything to do with it. The you from last night is the real you. The boy I've carried in my heart for so many years. Stephen, just be yourself. I'll protect you. I won't let anyone hurt you, including myself. And of course, I won't let any woman more beautiful than me appear in front of you. So domineering and so incredibly attractive. But I shook my head. I will be myself. I decided that last night. It has nothing to do with anyone else. And it certainly has nothing to do with whether you like me or not. Her face was suddenly right in front of mine. She pecked me on the lips. Her warm breath was very close. Even better. That's the boy I love. How did you know my body is better than a model's? You didn't even try last night. Want to confirm? Oh my God, what a siren. Is this what the legendary, cool, decisive CEO is really like? Let's talk about the service fee. I need to go home. No deal. I'll let you owe me, so I can come to your house every day to collect the debt. Linda, you're being ridiculous. My grandma always said a persistent woman gets her man. It's okay to be a little shameless when you're chasing a guy. We bickered all the way to the club entrance. Linda's face darkened again. Following her gaze, I saw Sophia. Stephen, I brought the share transfer agreement. Everything I have is yours. Can we just stay far away from this person, please? The wedding is almost ready. If you don't like the apartment, we can get a new one. As she spoke, she tried to shove a document into my hands. I took it, tore to shreds, and threw the pieces at her. If you don't know what breakup means, go look it up in a dictionary. Sophia watched the paper scraps flutter down. Her laugh was a little unhinged. Now that you've latched onto Ms. Lin, you're a whole different person. You were hooking up with her all along, weren't you? Otherwise, how could last night have been such a coincidence? Linda actually answered her seriously. To be precise, I wanted to hook up with him for many years. That's why last night was such a coincidence. I tugged on Linda's sleeve. Didn't you say you were going to protect me? Here's your chance. I don't want to see her again. After that, I really never saw Sophia again. A subsidiary of Linda's company first extended an olive branch to the illegitimate daughter of her mother's new lover. Her grandmother, who had supported Sophia because of her relationship with me, began to favor the illegitimate daughter instead. Once the illegitimate daughter gained power, she didn't let Sophia off the hook. Coupled with Linda's ostentatious pursuit of me, the business world caught on, and everyone started to keep their distance from her. She was kicked out of her home like a stray dog. In the end, she jumped from the window of our would-be apartment. It didn't even cause much of a stir because that day, Linda had booked every advertising screen in the city and filled the sky with drones to propose to me. Stephen Kent, just be your brave self. Stephen Kent, I love the real you. Stephen Kent, marry me. It was pretty cheesy, but I said yes. Linda was perfect in every way. The feeling was sublime. Wife, of course, you have to choose the best.